Thank you very much, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I realise I'm standing between you and afternoon tea, but what we're doing at Clean TeQ is really exciting, very impactful, and so I hope I can keep your attention. What I will show you today in my presentation is that Clean TeQ is really a different business to what it was 12 months ago. We're moving from a project-by-project EPC type business into a business that's really stacking recurring revenue underneath our project base. We've got multiple commercialization engines, and we're really kind of transforming the type of business we were 12 months ago. Forward-looking statements to just quickly flag. So let me just quickly get into an orientation for those of you who do not follow Clean TeQ Water closely. We're a technology company, ASX listed, of course, small cap. We finished our recent March quarter with $6.8 million in cash, and that was supported by a successful capital raise at the end of last year. And more importantly, we've just recently, in our recent quarter, turned operating cash flow positive. We are also targeting quite a good revenue growth for this financial year end, targeting around 50% growth on our previous year's revenue. And we have a very, very strong pipeline for FY27, FY28, and you'll see a little bit about that in my next few slides. We've just kind of landed on around $50 million in contracted order value. That's including big project awards, as well as test work, piloting, and engineering services. Just quickly, who we are, where we operate. We're headquartered in Melbourne. We have a European base in the Netherlands and commercial offices in China and South Africa. We are also well and truly a global company. We've delivered projects all across the world. We work with tier 1 customers like Rio Tinto, Neostar. So we've got these tier 1 customers that's really validated our technology. So just to get a little bit into the market verticals that we serve, Clean TeQ is really working on essentially the need for a generational need for better technology. And we serve essentially 3 different verticals. And these 3 verticals are major mega trends that are truly structural, and we're diversified across these 3 verticals. So the first one, freshwater scarcity. Fresh water is becoming significantly more difficult and expensive to source, and that's driven by climate stress, population growth, and also importantly, these very tightening industrial discharge regulations that you're seeing in major markets like Europe and North America. Water is really becoming a critical commodity. And speaking of critical commodities, the critical mineral supply chain, as you will know, is being rebuilt outside of China at quite a significant speed. And that is obviously driven by national security and the energy transition. And Clean TeQ has a technology platform that also addresses specifically the need and extraction of these minerals. And then finally, on the tailings side, you might know that conventional wet tailings storage is essentially becoming unpermittable. That's driven by these dam failures that we've seen over the last decade. And Clean TeQ Water has a technology that addresses that and enables safe, filtered, dry stacking. So let me take one step back and talk about the investment thesis for Clean TeQ. It rests essentially on 4 pillars. Firstly, we have world-leading technology, which I'll get into. We have these 2 incredible technology platforms, moving bed ion exchange, or MBIX for short, and ATA, which is the tailings technology. Then we have tier 1 first adopters. So we have technology has been validated by major companies like Rio Tinto, and that's the kind of first adopters that drive up an exponential pathway to growth. Thirdly, and that's what I'll get into a little bit more, is we are changing up our business model. We're moving towards replicable and compounding revenue essentially stacking recurring revenue underneath our project base. And then we have a number of really big upside opportunities in our pipeline, any one of which could be significantly meaningful for our market cap and share price. So let me take you very quickly through our technology platform. So the first one is Moving Bed Ion Exchange, or MBIX for short. You'll hear me using the word MBIX quite often. This is our mature technology platform. It's built on 25 years of development, and essentially now it's been proven at commercial scale in 5 different countries. Our technology has also been tested side by side with the conventional alternative and proven to improve value recovery, water consumption, and reduce waste. And that's really why we're being validated by these tier 1 customers who are choosing our technology. The same underlying technology can be applied across multiple applications, and you can see the list of the different modules where we apply the same technology in different applications. Maybe as an example, for the project that we're doing for Rio Tinto, the MBIX technology is being used at the Rincon project to remove impurities from their lithium stream. And we did a lot of work, a lot of side-by-side testing, and we were shown to significantly improve the losses of that value metal, and also we are significantly improving water consumption. That's one of the key things around MBIX, and that's why Rio Tinto chose us for that project. It's also the biggest project that we've been awarded to date, roughly around $19 million in value. This is also the technology that is generating most of today's revenue. It makes up most of our current contract pipeline, and we're also looking towards scaling this technology via licensing agreements. Then we have the ATA technology. The ATA technology is one of our newer technologies, but also now commercialized. So this is also a proprietary technology that enables the cost-effective filtration of tailings, so gets us to that dry stackable tailings. And to give you an idea, I mean, tailings is a massive market. Roughly around 13 billion tons of tailings are deposited every year, and the mining industry is really moving away from wet tailings storage, and we see ourselves playing a part in that, a world where essentially no more wet tailings dams exists. The key point is that ATA is now a commercial platform. We've just been, in May, awarded our first contract for a full-scale system. So we will be building a 750,000 ton per annum ATA plant for Broken Hill Mines, for their Ross mine in New South Wales. And what's interesting is that in addition to that EPC contract where we're delivering this plant, we're also in the process of finalizing a polymer supply agreement, as well as a technology licensing agreement. So a very good example of where we are now stacking this recurring revenue underneath our project base, and that runs for the lifetime of the asset. So I will now take you through 3 case studies, which essentially serves as proof points for the value that we bring to our shareholders. So the first project here is a project that we delivered for Heathgate Resources. It is a uranium project. It's an amazing picture that shows you a little bit of scale. So this is where we've utilized the MBIX technology to improve uranium recovery at this site. But what I think is really important about this project is that we've just reached practical completion in this quarter, and we have met and or exceeded every single one of the performance criteria in this contract. So it really shows our shareholders and investors that we can execute, because I think if you look at a small cap technology company like Clean TeQ, you might think about execution being a threat to value, but we've delivered at scale and we've done that or exceeded in terms of performance. This is also a key reference project for us. It's a uranium site using our technology that many of the uranium customers in our pipeline, and there are quite a few of them, can come visit. And this reference also paved the way for the award of the project with Rio Tinto. Our two major European projects with Neostar and our partner Enva are also great examples of how Clean TeQ builds a relationship with customers to lead, and that then leads to major contract awards. So Neostar is one of the world's largest zinc smelters, and we are delivering a plant for them in Belgium at their Barlen smelter to remove sulfate from their wastewater, again using MBIX at its core. And then with our partner Enva, we're delivering a phosphates plant that's to remove phosphate from their wastewater and also recover that phosphate from pharmaceutical wastewater. So again, using the MBIX technology. I think the message here really is around how we phase our approaches. So in both these projects, we first delivered an engineering package, we build that trust with the customer, and then that leads to an execution contract. And you can see they can be quite large contracts. So for the project in Barlen or Belgium with Neostar, that is a $10 million execution contract. We're planning to deliver that in early 2027. And then our project in Ireland, the phosphate project, that led to an $11 million contract. And that project is now in commissioning. I actually was just received some pictures of the phosphate cake coming off the filter press. Very exciting. So from an investor's perspective, I think what we're saying is that we really build compounding customer lifetime value. And also something else I think that's important to mention is that all of these projects are part of a bigger ecosystem with multiple replicable projects for our platforms within that ecosystem. Then the ATA project with RASP at Broken Hill Mines. I think this is a fantastic proof point around a commercial breakthrough and this recurring revenue concept. So just to kind of reiterate that, we're delivering this EPC contract now that's the 750,000 tonne per annum plant. Then the second step is the polymer supply contract. That will be a recurring revenue stream that scales with the amount of tailings that we process and runs for the lifetime of the asset. And then we also have a technology licensing agreement. Because of the proprietary nature of the technology, we will also be receiving an ongoing license fee, again for the lifetime of the asset. So both of these are recurring revenue streams that create value for Clean TeQ and our shareholders long after the plant has been delivered. So just to talk a little bit about some near-term catalysts. There are several near-term catalysts that we believe will move the share price. And I want to talk through them quickly before I move on to the most significant one, which I have a slide on its own. So before the end of this calendar year, we're looking towards our Sunrise Sison project financial investment decision. I'll come to that in the next slide. Plus several of the ATA RASP project construction milestones and finalization of the polymer supply agreement. And then the Enva Phosphates project reaching practical completion, which of course is a significant European reference site for us. Then looking into 2027, we will be finalizing the execution of the RASP ATA project, which obviously then means that that recurring revenue stream starts in earnest for Clean TeQ. If Sunrise reaches a positive financial investment decision, we'll mobilize on the EPC contract. And then we have several test work and engineering programs currently ongoing, which we're expecting will convert to EPC contracts as well. And then we're in the process of establishing licensing agreements to support our European market expansion. So we're looking towards that in 2027. And then just looking a little bit beyond, we believe that there is the scope for significant replication of ATA within the entire mining industry, which of course has that recurring revenue associated with it. We have a significant pipeline of MBIX projects that we are looking to convert, and then multiple licensing agreements, not only in Europe, but also in the Middle East to support our growth. So before I move to close, I think the Sunrise Hyacinthe project deserves a slide on its own because it is quite a significant near-term re-rate event that is in front of us. Sunrise is one of the largest and highest grade scandium resources, and Clean TeQ's MBIX technology sits at the heart of that flow sheet. We're contracted today to deliver engineering services that's valued at around $665,000. And as I've shown you with some of our other projects, we will move from that into the EPC delivery. So if Sunrise reaches a positive financial investment decision in the second half of this calendar year, is roughly what we're expecting, we will move from engineering services to EPC delivery, and that represents a very significant revenue step change for Clean TeQ. And it is a real endorsement of MBIX as the platform of choice for critical minerals processing. This project and the role that Clean TeQ and MBIX plays at the heart of the flow sheet really cements Clean TeQ as the technology platform of choice and as a key player in securing the critical minerals supply chain. So let me close the loop. The case for Clean TeQ is really the same four pillars that I opened with, and I hope I've shown you some evidence behind each one in my presentation. We have world-leading technology that's now proven at scale. We have tier 1 customers that pave the way for exponential scale. A business model that's moving from project by project to replicable compounding revenue, and also a pipeline of near-term catalysts that each could really move the needle significantly, and all of those within the next 6 to 12 months. Thank you for your time and attention. I really hope I've excited you about some of the work that Clean TeQ's doing, the impact that we're having, and I'm very happy to take some questions at the stand, so please come and reach out to me.